click on that, you'll be live.
Okay, that's fine. We can't do anything.
You're live.
Yeah. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. We're just waiting.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the webinar on career on finance and accounting, a global perspective. This webinar is powered by Crowd Product, the new age pioneers in customer engagement. And it is facilitated by FinSapient, the online academy on finance and accounting careers. Today, India needs at least 3 to 4 million finance and accounts professionals, and for various roles in the industry across industrial sectors, across both in the services as well as manufacturing sectors. However, the shortfall and gap is mind-boggling. And in today's webinar, we are actually going to speak about how to bridge the gap and what are the options which are available, not only to aspirant financial accounting professionals, but also the existing professionals who are looking at upskilling themselves and also looking at upgrading their careers. A career in finance and accounting has never been as glamorous or seriously thought about when compared to the popular career options like engineering, medical, medicine, or even for that matter, MBA finance or MBA marketing. Finance and related studies have always been more academic. People have talked about research, people have talked about writing papers, but a strong career in finance and accounting has been considered a niche area. Most of us tend to shrug it off, saying that it is for people who are good at numbers, good at arithmetic and maths, and many people keep away from this. Today, we are actually going to discuss in detail as to what this myth is all about and why it is, and what are the options we have. And for that, we have two panelists, experts in their respective fields. I would introduce them. The first panelist is Mr. Nidhish Singh. He's a qualified accountant, a member of the ACCA, that is the Association of Certified Accountants. CISI, that is the certification for investments and securities. He's a member of the Institute of Directors. He's a graduate in finance from the Liverpool University, UK. He has had a glorious career. He has had leadership positions in multinational companies, Fortune 500 companies across the globe, in investment banking, financial services, in and more than nearly 2 decades of rich experience in companies like JP Morgan, Citibank, SS&C, and State Street. So that is Nidhish Singh for you. And we also have Krutika Shah, a chartered accountant from Mumbai, from a prestigious college, RA Podar, and she has 2 decades of rich experience in finance and management, in business finance and accounting. And she's currently the director of fund services in SS&C global operations in Mumbai. She has an in-depth understanding of finance, both in the domestic and international space. She is also a visiting faculty in many of the colleges in Mumbai. So without wasting much time, I would get the webinar started and put the ball in Kritika's court, because being the lady, I would prefer her to start the webinar. So Krutika, over to you.
Thank you very much, Natarajan, and for having me on this panel. And I'm excited to be here. And apart from my academic and professional introduction, I just want to share something personal also about me. I'm a voracious reader, traveler. I'm a movie buff.
Oh, very nice.
I am into a lot of adventure activities. I have done skydiving, in South Africa and all. So I'm pretty excited about all these adventures.
Exactly. So you're basically exploding the myth that finance and accounting professionals are boring.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is a myth. Actually, it is a myth as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And being part of visiting faculty, I'm also kind of keenly interested in guiding and mentoring students who look forward to make exciting careers in field of finance and accountancy. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Very nice, very nice. So when we talk about the careers, like you said that you're you mentor and you're also a visiting faculty. So before going into the core topic, I would like to pose this question to both of you. Basically, what is this ACCA program? What is the, see, like I'm a chartered accountant, like I have been in this finance and business accounting profession for the last 3 decades. I would like to understand, for the benefit of the viewers here, what is ACCA program? What is the eligibility? And how is it different from the Chartered Accounting course of India? And what is the kind of recognition we have globally? And what are the career options here? Either you or Nidhish can address this. Who would like to go?
Right.
Yeah, Nidhish, you want to start with that?
Sure. So, Natarajan and everyone, good afternoon. So, ACCA is Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. It is a chartered accounting qualification from UK. So, just like we have CA and cost accounting in India, there is a financial accounting chartered bodies in UK, and ACCA is one of them. The age that ACCA has and how it distinguishes itself is that it is considered an international chartered qualification because it has established itself like that, and it has a syllabus which is much more internationally tuned, harmonized to global needs, much more diverse and constantly updated. Hence, it has got a reputation of an international chartered accounting qualification now. And it is spreading fast, not only in India, but China, various Asian country, Africa, and of course, it has been very, very popular for last couple of decades in Europe already.
Okay.
Yeah, just to add on that, ACCA is an international qualification. So being international qualification, it gives you sort of a portability, because this qualification is affiliated to many educational and professional bodies. And once you have ACCA, any part of the globe, you can either become a member directly, or you can take some, kind of 1 or 2 test papers and become a member, and which opens up doors of a lot of opportunities in that particular country. So ACCA is definitely a global certification which helps and opens the door for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like unlike CA exams, like a chartered accountant of India cannot really work as an accountant in say Australia or US. ACCA is opens up opportunities in countries like US also.
That's
Yes.
actually, yeah, that's right, because ACCA has lot of this recognition, understanding of treaties, I would say, with most of the European and North American and Asian countries. And as I said earlier, suppose if I go to Canada and I have ACCA, either I take a permission from CPA Board of Canada and get a CPA without passing or any exam, or if required, I can take a test paper for 1 or 2 different courses which CPA might offer, and start practicing as CPA.
Oh, wonderful. So you use the right word, portability. Like you can just plug in and play in terms of any country you are.
Right.
Maybe you might have to do some additional, take some additional inputs for the local laws and taxation, which might vary from country to country. Am I right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you are right.
Nidhish, you were saying something. Sorry.
Yeah, and if you go by some of the numbers, as Krutika quite rightly pointed out, that it gives you the opportunity to get the local qualification, local recognition, as well as this having an international reputation is very beneficial. We have currently some 300,000 members globally, spread across 170 countries. And there are already almost 550 students registered for ACCA. So we are talking about almost 800,000 members and students, fraternity across the world. In addition to that, there are 7,100 employers who have partnered with ACCA. That means if you apply to one of them when you're moving to Canada or Australia or UK, you're likely to encounter one of those employer, and they will say, "Oh yeah, we understand the reputation and the strength of ACCA. We are happy to go further or have at least the interview." So that's another strength.
So it's truly a global opportunity.
Yes.
A global certification which equips you for any land, any country. Sorry, Krutika, I interrupted you.
Just to add on that, like most of the ACCA has chapters in most of the countries.
Okay.
So what happens is when you move to some country, the local ACCA chapter helps you to network with the other ACCA members, and also they are part of the local accounting and finance bodies, which definitely expands your network, and you get into the circle immediately.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. That's great. That's great. Because professional networking is very crucial for us to understand the nuances of the profession, the content, the course content, the examinations, and things like that. It's very good. Before I have a few questions on what is the cost, what is the duration, how to prepare. But before that, I would like to, for the benefit of the viewers and the audience, I would like to make a few announcements. Like I said in the beginning of this webinar, this is powered by FinSapient, a leading institute and academy, which helps candidates in the certification process and their journey towards the ACCA certification. It not only helps them in the certification process, but also mentors them on choice of careers, also mentors them and networks them with, like Nidhish was saying, 71,000 employers, prospective employers with whom the candidate can partner to look for opportunities across the globe. Now, as part of this webinar, FinSapient is also live streaming a quiz program, which is available on the screens of the audience. And the participants of the quiz, the winners of the quiz, would get a 25% discount on the course fees and the certification and the opportunities offered by FinSapient. So please take advantage of this offer and participate in the quiz and win the prizes. So back to Nidhish and Krutika. You talked about the course. You talked about how global opportunities are available to the certified ACCA accountants, right? But then being a global course, my anxiety is about the cost. What is the cost, and what is the duration of the course, and how does one begin the journey?
Right. So in terms of the costing, overall it will cost you somewhere, or any student, somewhere between 3 to 3.5 lakhs. To give you the breakdown, 1.5 lakhs goes specifically to ACCA, which is paid in pounds, so 1.5 lakh to them. And then typically 2 lakh is the coaching cost, because there are like 13-14 papers across all the papers. There are tuition fees for that 2 lakhs, 15,000 per paper. So that's the cost structure. Duration wise, maybe it can take 1.5 year to 2 year, depending on the number of exemptions that you start with. But on average, all 13 papers can be cleared in 2 years' time. And it's very flexible, very diverse. You can pick and choose your number of papers and the papers to write the exam. Exams are held 4 times a year. They are computer-based as well as the paper-based. So it gives a lot of diversity, flexibility to choose the paper. And once you pass that paper, you don't have to write that paper again, because you for the fact that somebody has failed in other papers. It's not like that for ACCA. Once you pass a paper, that's gone out of the way, and you can target the next papers.
Okay, so it's different from how the chartered accountancy course in India is. So you choose these 13 papers across a span of 24 months, right?
True.
And
you can go even longer if you want, but
go longer.
on average.
So you are saying the exams are held in 4 times in a year. That's 1 per quarter. Yeah. And each quarter you can pick and choose the papers you would like to appear for.
That's right.
Right. And 13 papers can either finish in a span of 1 year or 2 years or 3 years at the pace which you decide.
You decide,
right?
yes.
Okay.
100%.
So yeah. So a person who's diligent and would like to do it consistently can actually choose 4 papers, say 3 papers per quarter, and finish it in 1.5 years.
Exactly. Anywhere between 1 to 4 paper can be selected for each quarter.
Anywhere 1 to 4,
Yeah.
not beyond 4. Okay.
Right. And if you pass 3 paper and fail one, no one is going to take away that one. You have to just write one more paper. That's it.
One more paper. Oh, wonderful. And what are the subjects, if you can elaborate?
That covers a wide spectrum of subjects, like a typical chartered accounting course, cost accounting, management accounting, financial accounts, financial reporting, companies acts and business laws, taxation, audit, business strategy and business development, advanced financial management and the capital market. All these subjects are dealt into in a quite good detail. And that's the strength, because employers value that it covers a wide spectrum of subjects and in good depth, very practical questions. So it's a good spectrum and very interesting syllabus.
Very interesting. You mentioned about subjects like company law, taxation. Now, these are country specific. So since ACCA is UK based, these subjects are UK taxation or the country from where you're writing the exam.
So they offer various variants of this taxation and the laws.
Okay.
So UK version as well as the international ones. So both of the choices are there.
That's good. The cost wise, in fact, it is, that's one thing I like about our profession, both CA as well as ACCA. Cost wise, we are very, very competitive when compared to other traditional professional courses like engineering, medicine, or even for that matter, MBA finance, right?
Precisely.
So it's a very, very cost effective program.
And the best part of that is, if you want to look into the employment opportunity after doing this course, because at the end you want to generate the benefit, you can Google and you can find out the employment opportunity for different, and I'm not just saying for ACCA, for any chartered qualification, you can find out, Google, what are the employers offering, how much is the salary range and the career progression. So everything is very transparent and widely available. So that's another benefit. Even for ACCA, you can Google and find out what are the typical big four or investment banks are recruiting in India for ACCA.
Oh, wonderful. Like CA course, where we have an option of working in the industry in a corporate world, we also have an option of doing our own consultancy and practice, right? So does it happen with ACCA also? Can you set up a consultancy firm and offer services?
Yes, actually, see, frankly, I will say that accounting and finance is a nucleus to any company, right? A small, multinational or any company. So accounting is a core. Every small company has to have a bookkeeping. So in terms of opportunities, right? It is a vast opportunity. I mean, I would say infinite opportunities which are out there. You can always, make a career option, whether you want to be in a manufacturing industry, whether you want to be in entertainment industry, whether you want to be in media, or whether you want to do a core finance, being a CFO, managing finances, treasury and everything. So I would say that, this course will definitely open a lot of vistas for anyone who wants to make career in finance and management and accounting. And apart from this course, definitely there are other skills which are required. I mean, as you know, from my experience, I can say that the person should have analytical skills, the communication, the teamwork. I mean, nowadays the soft skills are given more importance. Being to be part of any management team. So all these skills definitely help. But ACCA, in terms of recognition in India, I mean, if we are talking about India, it is one of the welcomed qualification which nowadays international firms which are set up in India are looking for.
Very good. So that actually leads me to my next question. You said the various industries and you talked about bookkeeping, you talked about finance, you talked about taxation, right? For a beginner, for somebody who's stepping into is having career options and has to make career decisions of which career path he or she has to choose, finance and accounting is normally considered as bookkeeping, normally considered as somebody who's number crunching, a nerd who's wearing a spectacle and working on numbers, poring over ledgers, poring over documents, right? But then there is a huge area of activity and scope. The system is so vast that it is not just number crunching, it's beyond that. You are actually a business partner. So, and many of the engineers who after graduating in engineering realize that, because they have already expanded their vistas, and they move to MBA finance and take up a specialized course. So how would you describe this dichotomy, and how would you explain this, and how would you make it much simpler for people who start their career as to what are the options available in finance career in finance and accounting, and why it is not just bookkeeping and number crunching? Can you just, for the benefit of the audience who's perhaps mainly on the threshold of their careers?
Right. So, as we all know that Indian economy is growing, and there is a lot of demand for financial services expert. Today, if I talk about private equity specialist, venture capital specialist, or someone who is handling real estate portfolio, to manage the portfolio and valuation. So that is one area, where a lot of demand is coming. Hedge fund industry, where we have a lot of hedge fund administrators who are operating out of India. They look for a person with accounting qualification, and that role, being into hedge fund administrator. Currently, I'm working with SS&C. Being in that role, the role involves looking at NAVs, the portfolio valuation, risk analysis, and so there are a lot of opportunities. I would say that, and today, so those are the opportunities in the financial services. There is another area or domain which is very exponentially growing, which is a role of business analyst. Nowadays, a lot of companies are looking to implement either a high-end software, or they are looking to implement some kind of technology, and to help and understand a developer, like what should be the sequence of financial activity or process. There has to be some financial expert sitting next to him, explaining him that this is how it should work. So the role of business analyst is to make a proposal and make a developer understand what we want. So those are very exciting areas which currently are available to everyone who, as we say that, the core bookkeeping may not excite everyone, but there are n number of avenues for everyone to explore.
Nidhish, would you like to add?
No, Krutika has given a very good example of different diverse roles which is open for chartered accountants. I can add my own journey in this context as an SSC member. So I started my career in accounting and finance, so typical corporate finance role. 3 years, I moved on to financial reporting. My next role was, again different, fund accounting, reconciliation, and cash management. And next role, which I'm with JP Morgan now, is head of change and transformation. What I do here is really upgrading the system technology and trying to catch up with what competitors are offering, or how to really change the game in the entire investment industry. In that capacity, I'm working with the technologists and AI and various other specialists. So now I'm in a techno-functional role. By no means I'm just a number cruncher or financial specialist. I'm understanding the business, competition, the strategy, how to change the program and make the entire firm more competitive, and develop the tools. So you can see the role of the chartered accountants are evolving so fast that you will see that so many CFOs are taking up the role of the CEOs, because these roles, these qualifications equip you for understanding the strategy, business, market, and steering the entire organization to the next level.
So that's how you partner with the business.
Precisely, yeah. And it is becoming strategic, because finance, investment, and efficiency is becoming the core of every organization's strategy.
That's good. That's true. Very true. Because a decade ago, CFO becoming the CEO was unheard of.
True.
But can you elaborate on how does the finance person, like today, when we start our careers, we don't start as CFOs, right? we start as a number cruncher or a calculation person or a compliance person in the organization. If we decide to choose a corporate career, right? So how does that individual contribute for the business in its business strategic decisions? Can you elaborate on that?
Right. I would leave some point for Krutika from her 25 years of CA career,
yes,
which will give fruitful information. However, what I understand is you can start from any roles like tax filing to audit, typical accounting, or investment banking functions. What is critical is we are in such a situation whereby we are looking into the number, investment, finance, cost, and efficiency. As I said earlier, different type of MIS.
Yes.
It will, after 4 or 5 years of experience, it will give you a very insightful view of the entire organization, not one vertical.
Correct.
You will also understand where to do the cost cutting or where to make the investment, where to buy your product or manufacture a product, which market is better and which one should be exited. This kind of understanding start to come after 4 or 5 years of your career, provided the person remains vigilant and alert to learn new things. This is how after another 5 years or 10 years, you become at the C level, or you start to add value to the organization. You have already a very, very good background, you're learning, and you have the hold on key information of the organization and start to understand the market. This is where a typical chartered accountants who start a career can add value to the organization in 10, 15 years, or maybe after 15 years can aspire to become a CFO, and then the sky's the limit.
So when you say chartered accountants, you also include ACCA, certified accountants.
Exactly. So we are talking about CA, ACCA, Association of Chartered Certified Accountant, because even that the syllabus is so diverse and constantly updated, it keeps you on the top of the things which is happening in the business world.
So to understand, it is this way, like the finance professional is not just limited to the core corporate finance role. He is spread out throughout the organization. He can be part of the purchase team. He can be part of the manufacturing team. He could even be part of the sales and marketing team, providing very useful insight about how the market is behaving and which are the most profitable verticals within the department. Am I right?
Absolutely, 100%. A chartered accountant or ACCA, so to say, can be a trader, can be investment banker, can be a finance manager, or can work in the sales team, because ultimately we need to represent organization's financial interest. And while doing the deals, these are core component of the entire agreement. Hence, even within our SS&C or many other organizations, you'll see sales people have chartered accounting or ACCA kind of qualifications to deal with the clients and represent the financial number properly.
Very good. You mentioned investment backing. I would like to come to that. But before that, I would like to take inputs from Krutika as to what is the, can you elaborate on your personal experience in terms of with the different functions and different opportunities which a finance professional has in an organization, which is beyond the hardcore, perceived hardcore number crunching?
Absolutely. I can actually, talk about stocks, the derivative tradings. I mean, that is like, in thing nowadays, like a lot of people I know really want to make a career into equity research or being a fund manager or a portfolio manager. So as we understand, right, it all comes down to number, basically how I interpret the balance sheet of, say, Reliance. How currently we all know that Reliance has been paying off debts, and a lot of investors are making investments. So it is ultimately it comes to number, and core is to understand how to take advantage of your balance sheet, how to make most of it, and ultimately how you make investors return manifold. So that is one example where someone wants to make a career in equities or stock market. There is definitely a lot of scope, because today we know that a lot of these big investors we talk about, I mean, most of them have background of accountancy. If you know about a lot of these big investors, like so they have a background of accountancy. So as I say, if someone is starting a career, in accountancy, it can always start with a scratch, and which definitely builds a good foundation. Going forward, it helps. So understanding the basics, how your balance sheet is, how to interpret the numbers, that will be a starting point to go into any field, I would say. So I mean, that's right. I mean, I just remember one quote by Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin once said that investment in your knowledge pays. I mean, it pays interest. Interest in knowledge pays.
Yes.
So similarly, I want to add that investment in accounting and finance will definitely help you manage your interest.
Oh, very good. That's a wonderful quote.
So
do you mind repeating it? Investment in accounting and finance
will help you manage interest rates, which can be
good.
applied everywhere. So
That's a wonderful quote, Krutika. I'll have this. So that is and basically the certification course ACCA or CA helps you reach that basic level of understanding, and then kickstarts your career. Am I right in understanding that?
Absolutely, it gives you starting point, right? Then then we all know, as being professionals, you have to constantly be updated, constantly be looking for something, what's going on in industry, the current trends, and then you have to keep on adding other professional qualifications as well if you really want to accelerate your career. So those are the common things in any field. Like if you go into, say, medicine, right? I mean, after MBBS, you want to always go for MD, and that's the path we all have to go through.
Yes. And I remember discussing with Nidhish. Nidhish is is a constant pursuit of academics. So I believe currently you're doing, Nidhish, PhD. Can you elaborate? What exactly are you doing?
Right. So my continuous study never stops. So right now I'm doing my doctorate in private equity in India. So my topic is how to really enhance the ranking of Indian private equity in the world market. Currently it is top 28. How to make it in top 5? What kind of policy changes and best practices should be adopted by the policymakers and entire industry, so that we can go to a different orbit.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
So I'm also working on my planning to finalize my chapters and all for my book. So planning to launch the book also in private equity domain.
Excellent, excellent. And also you have started FinSapient to help the ACCA certification, as well as the career choice of career paths and networking with potential customers. Can you just elaborate on that? Can you just tell us about FinSapient?
Yeah. So we launched FinSapient Academy with the vision that in India, we still have a limited number of qualified accountants, where the requirement and demand is really in millions. If we go by global standard, we should have 3 million plus qualified accountant, whereas we have only 300,000. So just 10% of the need. So in FinSapient, we are targeting to teach ACCA, various certificate and diploma courses of ACCA, such as diploma in IFRS, certificate in IFRS, full membership of ACCA as a qualified accountancy course. And I myself have done ACCA when I was in UK and Ireland, was privileged to study with some of the best coaching centers in Europe. That will help me to assist and help students in India. Where also, because I and Krutika and many others who will be teaching this course, and we have kind of 4 or 5 decades of cumulative experience altogether. So we want to distinguish ourselves in a way that we are not only just going to provide you the coaching to pass the exam. Of course, that's the core of our objective. We also want to train our students to have an edge and competitive advantage, such as interpersonal skill development, communication skill, how to do the job search and face the interview. Facing interview is a different skill set and art altogether. We have ourselves taken interview for hundreds and thousands of students. We have mentored and coached the hundreds and thousands of employees within our organization. So we want to impart those skills and knowledge to our students. In addition to that, we also think that ACCA is a global course. So why not our students and candidates can go for global opportunities? For that, we have the privilege to work with some of the language trainers. We are also going to have the package to, if someone wants to, can go for some software training and learning as well. That will be all on the top of ACCA. So that means
wonderful.
you are learning ACCA, software, technology, you are getting interpersonal skill set, communication skill, interview skill, every single thing, so that you become a complete professional and accountant and ready to hit the market.
Oh, wonderful. So it's beyond an academy. It is more of a university which helps you in the certification, helps you in preparing for your career options, helps you in networking with prospective employers as well as co-professionals. It helps you upgrade your upskill your skills in language, interpersonal relationships, and prepare you for the corporate world.
Precisely, and technology is important. I would let Krutika touch upon that as well, that how technology is used for accountant, and can we really be only an accountant in next 5 to 10 years?
Yes, that's true. That's true. Will we be an accountant in the next 5 to 10 years? That's the question.
And that's why we want to make our students more competitive. Krutika, what do you say?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think now we know that today the buzzword is AI and ML, artificial intelligence and machine learning. So I would touch upon that. So people may think that, AI and machine learning are making inroads in a big way. But our goal, we want people, we want students or career aspirants to become adaptable to new change, which is going to happen or which is already happening. Even for, I'll just give you example of the SS&C where I'm working. So we have AI in place, but still we need CAs and ACCAs to do the analysis, to tell machine what to do, how to do, right? Machine language is there, but then there has to be some logic behind it. So for that, there has to be very clear understanding as to what we want machine to do. So when we are equipped with this knowledge, right, about any stream of finance or accounting, even if we are working in an environment where artificial intelligence is introduced, it will be our role to make that artificial intelligence more robust by applying your knowledge.
Okay.
So absolutely, and on that again, ACCA is conducting so many different webinars. ACCA as a body, and we are working very closely with ACCA. I have delivered a couple of webinar, and continuous professional development courses on behalf of ACCA on artificial intelligence, machine learning, and these are critical component. And that's where again ACCA also support the students and members to get equipped with the technical skill which is required for accountants of future. Because remember, by 2025, 25% of the world GDP will come from smart technology, such as AI and machine learning. So by 2025, 25% of GDP. Hence, the courses like this, ACCA and the institutions like us will be, helping students to get ready for those opportunities and become a techno-functional accountant as well, where needed.
That's wonderful. Before we go to the next part, I would like to again remind the audience about the quiz which we have, which is running on which is available on the link to the session, where you can participate in the quiz and win prizes to get discounts in the course fee as well as the mentorship fees. Nidhish, are you also offering some mentorship for people who participate in the quiz, where you give some one-to-one inputs on what are the options and additional inputs about the course?
Indeed. So some of the winners will get one-to-one opportunity to talk, maybe for 1 hour in a month, how to plan the career and face the interview, etc.
Yeah. So coming to the career path, you mentioned that you also are, there are around 71,000 corporates across the globe who are looking for certified accountants, especially from ACCA. So how exactly the job search goes on? Like, see, one of the options, one of the predominant questions which a aspirant or a student would have is, okay, I'm investing so much of energy, so much of time into a certification course. What happens after I get certified? What are the opportunities available to me? What kind of jobs? What is the career path? What is my growth path? so much like Krutika was saying, technology is actually a disruptor today. What happens to the technology? How do I figure after technology comes into place? Would I be displaced by technology? How do I prepare myself for the jobs? How do I constantly upgrade and upskill myself? I think I am asking on behalf of the audience. So these are the questions which may come up. So how would you like to address them? Would you like to throw some light, both you and Krutika?
So to recap some of the points that we discussed, like career opportunities are available for accountants from ACCA in wide variety of streams, like traditional tax and audit functions, corporate accounting, corporate finance, and in investment banking, dealing with the capital market product, merger, acquisitions, takeover, private equity, hedge funds, venture capital, etc. Plus various business analyst and techno function role, as Krutika earlier pointed out. So these are some of the popular path.
Okay.
ACCA members can work in India in organizations such as Big Four, audit company, consultancy, even some are working in the Boston Consulting Group, etc. In retail bank as well as investment banks, like myself, I have worked within India and abroad in Citibank, JP Morgan, State Street. So those opportunities are open. Plus manufacturing companies, IT companies, Infosys, various TCS and pharmaceutical companies have roles for ACCA accountants, and we can find that out on Google. They are all transparently available. So these are the career path and the company who are recruiting for ACCA. When it comes to AI and smart technology, will they replace us? There is going to be a change in the role. They are not going to replace qualified accountants like member of ACCA and the CA bodies, because we are constantly upgrading and updating ourselves as well. So I would leave that question to even elaborate further by Krutika, that would AI be really replacing the accountants from ACCA, or it will only assist us?
Right. I think we touched upon it. As I said, like I currently see AI being implemented in my own company. We have AI kind of, so currently AI at the stage where we want to improvise the process so that process becomes more robust, error-free, fast, quicker, and we deliver the we make sure that client deliverables are on time. So that's where AI is playing a role, where we computer or technology is intelligently telling us that this is what you should do, rather than we kind of trying to do it manually. So, but even if that AI is in place, ultimately as an accountant, I will have to make sure that when I'm delivering client, say P&L, and there is something which is not correct, I will have to make sure that it is corrected. So that analytical role is always going to remain. And earlier I touched upon business analyst role, right? So if I have to implement some AI technology based on my knowledge and experience, I have to tell machine that how it's going to be, what I want, what checks I want. So I mean, I definitely think that AI and machine learning, whatever which is going to come in place, will actually require more of our knowledge and experience to get implemented widely. And to make it more successful, experience will be always counted for.
That's very interesting. So basically, the inputs which we provide is where is going to be the ground on which AI and AI is going to operate, machine learning.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's interesting. Nidhish, I have a specific question addressed to you. Not that Krutika cannot answer. I'm saying because Nidhish has been talking about FinSapient. Nidhish, you said that you would help the candidates in not just help in the certification process, coach them for the exams and help them get certified. But you would also provide inputs on networking with prospective employers, corporates across the globe. So how does that happen? Like, how is the interview preparation? And apart from what FinSapient does, would you like to also elaborate on how exactly is the interview preparation?
Yeah, a great question, Natarajan. Again, so overall theme is that we prepare the accountants and also connect them with the industry experts, provide them the networking opportunity, and make them ready for the interview and success in their respective roles in future. So since I, Krutika, even Manoj, you, we all are from the industry. So we have, I have the coordination and collaboration with dozens of senior people in industry. A.
Okay.
B. This FinSapient Institute has been formed with the vision of many veterans, not only from India, from across the world. So we have some senior people from MUFG in Singapore who are the country head, some people who are country head of the financial services in India and Europe. So these people are supporting us and mentoring, to run this institute and providing the support. So that will help us to connect, apart from our own network, with the industry experts and employers, HR in industry, and that will open the pathway for ACCA members and the candidates from our institutes.
That's wonderful. So basically, I would again prompt the audience to participate in the quiz, because you are getting a huge discount to avail these kind of services from FinSapient. And so participate in the quiz and win those prizes, plus the one-on-one mentorship which Nidhish is offering with his vast experience. Nidhish, what do you feel is the trend today? As it is, the economy has changed. Like over the last 36 months, there has been quite a few upheavals in the economy across the globe. There are corporates which are crumbling. There are corporates, new sector corporates which are coming up, and there has been slowdown. There have been green shoots also in various sectors, and now with the COVID, the world is turned upside down. Right? There has been a lot of disruption in the way we work. What are the sectors which will work? What is the future of some sectors? We don't even know. Like, for example, hospitality industry. We don't even know how it is going to emerge. There is a Bangalore startup which talks about caravan homes and holiday homes through caravans. So the new sectors, new opportunities emerging because of the pandemic, but also many traditional sectors are crumbling. So in this scenario, what do you feel is the trend, and what do you feel are the growth opportunities for a finance and accountant profession?
I would Natarajan, reflect on an incident some 20 years ago, Y2K.
Okay.
There was a concern that after Y2K, the computer industry will collapse and the things will be less globalized, everything.
Yes.
But it was other way around. So any such disaster or global problems, actually, which shakes the economy, it opens the door for the experts.
Okay.
So now it will be really a kind of opening door for experts like economists, accountants, financial experts like ACCA members, because it requires more and more of the long-term planning, strategic planning, focus on the cash flow management, cost and efficiency, building a more robust business model so that any such supply chain issues are even not disrupting the economy. Now, why supply chain and these things comes in picture? Because normally CFOs and experts of the finance are part of those discussions as well, to design and understand the flow. Because now we are part of the preparing and streamlining the business. So expertise will be needed more and more. And that's where I say, and I repeat, that ACCA not only teaches for accounting and finance, but also for strategy, business planning, etc., project management. And this is where the expertise will be required more after COVID-19, because now the world has recognized that a better model is always more sustainable in such situations.
Sustainable model. Very true. Very true. A sustainable model which will address any challenges which are thrown at it.
Correct. We are living in a VUCA world. It's a volatile, complex, ambiguous, and completely vague. So in such situation, the expertise and the knowledge is the only way to lead the organization. Hence, equip yourself with the best academic and research-oriented courses.
And for students who are aspiring for a career path, they should make an informed decision. They should understand what the course offers and what are the opportunities. And that's precisely the focus of this webinar. And I'm sure the inputs which you and Krutika are providing are of immense use to the audiences. And I'm sure they would take advantage of the inputs, and they will be able to take these things forward. Now, like you have been talking about the course, you've been talking about how we would help the candidates, you've been talking about what are the opportunities. So how does one see, that is the that is as I see it, that is one component of the career path, right? The basic component of the career path is to lay the foundation, get your academics right, get your certification done, and you're ready for your career. But how does one kickstart the career?
So this certification will start with full membership and diploma and certificate programs that we are launching by 4th of July. As our all the setups are ready, and we want to give some time for students to register. This will be a typically 3 to 4 months program for each paper. And since the papers are can be written every quarterly basis, so that's how we have organized this. It will be based on our experience, the understanding from the requirement of the corporate and industry. So this is how we have scheduled it. And of course, there will be different kind of flexible options for students to take up if they want to even go for much more detailed option like software development, software skills, interpersonal communication, foreign languages, etc. We can also offer those ones so that they can equip themselves for the international roles as well. Krutika, you want to add something?
Yeah, apart from that, we are also kind of planning to provide guidance on IFRS, courses on IFRS. Currently, IFRS means International Financial Reporting Standards, which are now adopted by most of the Indian companies who have operations in multiple countries. So we also want to add that, under our coaching, where a person who is taking ACCA will also come to know about what are the how to implement IFRS, how to help companies implementing IFRS. So these are some of the courses which we are going to add, and that's why we said that we really it's not just about ACCA. We want a person who is enrolling with us to be totally ready, totally evolve, totally understand what he is equipped with, and he is ready to take on any challenge which industry or market will have in front of him.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. So, are you suggesting, Krutika, that the job search is not just limited to the advertisements which corporates place in the space, like either it's in LinkedIn or in any other space where they place these advertisements, but job search can also happen due to the networking which you provide, as FinSapient provides. So can you elaborate on that? Like, how does FinSapient help the candidate in choose a career path, and what are the options available?
Right. So, our plan is to start with, to have tie-up with, some of the best recruitment consultants. Based on that, we'll know what is the current trend, what are the demands in the market. So we plan to associate ourselves with them. We plan to kind of associate with some of the companies via our HR contacts, where we have, and we'll try and pitch for, kind of a placement, similar to campus placement, which we have. So we are trying, and in fact, based on our contacts, I'm confident that we'll be able to help our students getting best placements after completing this course.
Very good.
Yeah. And to add on, basically, when I and Krutika, etc., will be delivering the ACCA content and coaching, we will also invite time to time some other, like us, industry experts to deliver some specific papers, so that candidates get the exposure of those thought process and make a connection with other industry experts. We are in constant touch with the other colleagues in the industry so that we can place the students appropriately. We get the market insight. So all these efforts will, really make a good collaboration between our institute and what industry is looking for, and make a bridge between the two. Because we are from industry and we are trying to now provide the coaching. So there's no really gap, or there's no wall. We are actually building the bridge between the industry and coaching.
Oh, that's great. That's very good. That's great. We have been getting a lot of questions from the audience. So how would you like to address? Would you like me to take them up now, or would you like to add on to something else which I have perhaps missed out asking?
I think, you can take those questions and we can help responding
Sure.
to this.
I would seek help of Vinay here. Vinay, can you pitch in and maybe
Yes.
read out the questions?
Yes. So
Thank you, Vinay.
Sonali and Soni Sharma, they ask, is ACCA easier than CA? Is there articleship mandatory in ACCA like CA? That's the first question.
Yeah. So, Nidhish, would you like to? We'll go by questions. Vinay, how many questions do we have so that we can either club all the questions together or can we address one by one?
So we have
time.
15 plus questions, but I think most of them have already been answered. So 5 we can shortlist.
Yeah, we can take. And
Okay,
even if
that's
the
good.
questions which I've answered, we can repeat in case Nitish and Krutika would like to add some more perspectives to it.
Yeah, happy to even repeat if that clarifies the
Yes,
queries of the respondents.
So maybe we'll take up the first question as to whether there's an articleship, whether in a practical training, internship for the course.
So let me start with this, and Krutika, please add further from your rich experience. So in terms of the complexity and difficulty between ACCA and CA, I would say the comparison would not be real perfect, because ACCA typically have focused on kind of making the syllabus linear and constantly updating with the market changes. So anything that is redundant and little old, they get rid of this and update with the new and latest updates like fintech, the AI, or maybe how the COVID is going to impact the world economy and US, China, or India relationship. You know, all these things are constantly updated so that it is latest, but not too vast. It helps the students also to understand what matters and clear the paper quickly, because it is not extremely heavy in the content as well. B, why it is much more beneficial for busy lifestyle of today is because ACCA allows you to only sit for the paper that you have failed. So suppose typically in many Indian chartered qualifications, if you attempt 4 papers and fail in 1, you have to repeat the entire set. In ACCA, that provides the flexibility, and that's the core advantage as well of ACCA, that if you fail 1 paper out of 4, you just have to repeat that 1 paper, and all 3 pass which has been passed don't have to be repeated.
Okay.
It also gives you the speed and agility to pass quickly. I would also say in terms of the PER and experience, any experience that you have accrued in the past or during ACCA or even in the future, everything can be considered for the practical experience requirement. So you don't have to do the articleship as such during ACCA only. Any experience which is relevant will be considered for the experience. And again, on articleship side, experience requirement side, ACCA consider wide varieties of the business undertaking as a relevant experience, because right now there is a very thin line between the cost accounting, financial accounting, or tax, audit, or business and strategy project management. So that's why it is much more flexible to accept different types of roles as PER.
Okay. So basically an internship kind of an phase is not required in ACCA.
True.
However, practical experience is required, and your past experience or current experience will also be considered for that experience.
The tune of 3 years.
Right. It's a tune of 3 years. Okay.
Yeah.
So you can do your certification right now and gain your practical experience later on as you start your career.
Yes.
Or so are we saying that a finance professional who's already embarked on his career has put in some 2-3 years of work experience and is now aspiring to upskill himself for global opportunities, can do the certification, and his relevant finance experience in the last 3 years can also be considered. Am I right in understanding? Okay, that's wonderful. That is wonderful. Krutika, you were saying something. Sorry, I interrupted.
So I just want to touch upon the difficulty levels or complexity levels. So as such, there is no comparison. I mean, we all know that CA passing percentages are like single digit every time the exam happens, but that's not the case with ACCA. ACCA, it is much more flexible, as Nidhish mentioned, that you can take papers anytime during 4 times a year. That is one option. That's one thing which is very good about it. And in terms of passing percentage, it's not that complicated, as I said. So passing percentage is almost, I would say 5 times of what CA passing percentage is.
Okay. But having said that, I would still say that professional courses are professional courses, right? There is a degree of difficulty attached to it with a purpose. Like it is a vast subject, we go into which we are deep diving into. So it is basically knowledge which will work and the preparation which will work. And that's where FinSapient steps in and helps you in preparing yourself for the exams. Right. So can we move to the next question, Vinay?
The next question is in line with what has been shared. So Archana Kumari wants to know what are the career paths for people with 10 plus years of experience who are interested in ACCA?
Oh, very nice. Very nice question. It's a very interesting question.
I have typically seen people with 10 years of experience after ACCA working at minimum manager level in any Fortune 500 company or multinational companies, investment bank, etc. Some have even gone to the higher scale, director, vice president, or such positions. If I remember, I was associate director after 6 years of post-qualification experience.
Wonderful.
Right. So yeah, there is different career path for everyone, but after 10 years, you can expect to become a manager in any multinational or Fortune 500 companies.
I guess, Nidhish, more than the title, it is the content which will help you be satisfied and derive a sense of satisfaction in your career.
True.
And so this 10 years of experience which the questioner has is actually going to complement and support the certification. Am I right in understanding?
Absolutely, because after the certification, we also do continuous professional development courses,
Okay.
40 hours every year. That also help us equip ourselves, and it aligns with the organization's objectives and changing business needs. So yeah, that's true. After 10 years, you can expect to lead a large team or work on different projects which will create more sustainability for the organization or launch a different business verticals. So those kind of responsibilities are expected to be given after 10 years plus of experience.
And in addition to the global opportunities which will open up.
Yes, and these are all national, multinational companies I'm talking about.
So the next question is from Shraddha Rai. She says whether ACCA has authority to certify financial statements like CA in practice.
Krutika?
Are you talking about India or otherwise? In India, no. ACCA can't sign a balance sheet. You can't be a auditor per se in India. And about in other countries, I think Nidhish, do you know?
Yeah. So as the chartered qualification in UK and in European countries, so ACCA members can work as an auditor and can sign off this financial statement. In India, because it is a legally protected responsibilities, so only CA are allowed to sign off the financial statement. However, I would like to mention one thing for the clarification of all the students and the different members, that currently hardly 1 or 2% roles will require you to sign off a financial statement as such, because most of the roles are in the KPO, BPO, investment banking, retail banking, financial strategy, cost, manufacturing. There are so many thousands and thousands of the different roles in each vertical that you hardly need to really worry about that, because there are still lacks of jobs that requires the qualified accountant, and we are not able to fill the positions. So as I said earlier, out of 1.35 billion of population, India should have 3.5 million of qualified accountants, whereas India has only 0.3 million of qualified accountants currently, as per the various bodies stats. So we need to really become 10 times in terms of qualified accountant. That's where you see the scope is.
Yeah. And certification of financial statement is one aspect of a professional finance person, like a chartered accountant.
Yeah.
And the certification of financial statements are governed by the laws of the respective country.
True.
So in India, it is governed by the Institute of Chartered Accountants Act, which is passed by the Parliament. So in India, the chartered accountant signs the financial statement, certifies the financial statements. Whereas in UK and European Union, it is the ACCA, right? I guess that addresses the certification question. But what Nidhish you are saying is, the opportunities are beyond the certification of an
exactly, yeah. So if you get, say, MBA from IIM Ahmedabad in finance, do you really worry about your ability to sign? Because you can do the trading, investment, varieties of role you can go into, so you don't worry about really signing off a financial statement.
And that is just one minuscule percentage of the job opportunities. Yes, 100%. I agree. Vinay, can we move to the next question?
So we have 3 questions which are similar around careers and opportunities. Okay. So Ravi Chandra wants to know what type of companies, industries are there which hire ACCA members. Then Harshit wants to know, do we have global opportunities if we get the ACCA certification? And the third one, Anurag wants to know, is it possible for ACCA students to get jobs while working, and how?
Okay. So let me start with the Ravi's question, number one. What type of company and industries are hiring ACCA? So there, as I said, it could be even tax at a different level of audit functions. So Big Four are also hiring. Investment banks, retail banks are hiring ACCA members. In addition to this, manufacturing companies, pharmaceutical, IT companies like Infosys and TCS also hire ACCA. So because the cost accounting, financial accounting, management accounting, those roles or various number crunching requirements are almost in every company of all size in every industry within India. So the roles are open in all sort of companies. Now, in terms of industry, investment, trading, capital market, as well as the typical traditional manufacturing and tax and audit, all industries welcome ACCA. Second question is on, do we have any global opportunity if we get the ACCA certification? Yeah, so again, as we said earlier, the accountants are working and members are working in 170 different countries. So that means you are at par with them. Once you get ACCA certification, you are part of that fraternity and the global pool of talent, which is serving employers in 170 countries. And 7,100 employers have active collaborations with ACCA when they post their job requirement on the ACCA job portals. So entire world is open. If you want to apply in Australia and any other country, ACCA is recognized. Plus, you can also get the automatic membership with the local chartered accounting bodies as well. So it is very well globally recognized qualification. So Krutika, you want to add something on the global opportunities for ACCA, and then we can talk about the next question on getting job while working.
Yes, I mean, see, internationally there are audit firms, who would want to look at these certified accountants, which are where the certification is recognized. So there are a lot of opportunities in the field of accounting, auditing, financial services internationally, because we have come across, right? We all the time see, and given that we are working in a multinational environment, we also know that our own international locations are hiring CAs, CPAs, and ACCAs in a big way. So internationally, definitely there is a good opportunity which is available. And as we have discussed earlier, right? I mean, accounting and finance are eternal professions. Anywhere you go, there is always a need for accounting and finance function, whether it is a big entrepreneurship company or whether it is a small setup. So definitely there are opportunities, and ultimately, as we all agree and understand that it also depends on your personal skills and attitude. How you want to take it forward your career, how you want to network, how you want to start ahead. But there are opportunities, and people are making most of it, as we know.
And I would like to add here, it's when you say it's the audit firms are not only looking for professionals to carry out the function of audit, certification, analysis. But the audit firms today also operate as consultants, management consultants.
Yeah.
They take up projects for corporates, they take up projects for the governments, they take up projects for specific special interest groups to analyze, to understand, go into the dynamics of a particular project, and give target inputs, specified target inputs. So the audit, when we are talking about audit firms, we are not just talking about audit activity, but basically a management consultant, a strategy input provider, a strategic solutions provider, and professional qualifications like ACCA and CA go a long way in providing those insights.
Yeah, very insightful, Natarajan. Thanks for adding it.
Yeah. So would you, Vinay, would you like to take the next question?
Yeah, so the next one I think is from another gentleman. If one can work while studying for ACCA.
Yes, yes.
So this is something that I wanted to add at FinSapient again. We are committed to work in a non-traditional model whereby while you learn, you need to earn as well. So that's the model that we are developing here. So with our industry experience, coordination and collaboration, we are working on to have opportunity for our students while they are still learning. So earn while you learn model is all about you clear the paper, you develop the expertise, and we will help you get placed in the industry. You know, there's no point waiting for all the papers to get completed because the demand is immense for such skill sets.
Okay. Very good. So
Yeah.
That's what FinSapient offers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have a few other questions. For instance, Ravi spoke about Mr. Nidhish. Are you, as you mentioned about institute, when are you going to start taking admissions for your institute? And Satish wants to know that the courses is for accountant background students. Is there any scope for those who are working in other than financial sector? So these are two questions. And the third question I will just say is, Abhiruchi wants to know, I'm looking for ACCA or FRM. Which one is the best?
Okay. So the first question on when we are launching and who can study for ACCA. So we are launching all the ACCA programs by 4th of July. We want to give some more time for registration, etc. In terms of who can do that, after +2, anyone can pursue this qualification. So whether science, art, or commerce, intermediate +2 student, all can appear for the ACCA exam. And remember, it will take on average 2 years. So after +2, in 2 years' time, you are a qualified accountant and ready to hit the top tier financial services firms.
Oh, wonderful. So even before your peers complete their graduation,
right,
you are on a growth path already. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
But the basic minimum qualification is
+2 to start with. Yeah, and any stream, not only commerce, but science, art, anything, any stream can start this. And if somebody is graduate in commerce and business, can get some exemption out of 13 papers. So 3 or 4 papers exemption will further benefit those who are graduate BCom or BBA, etc. in business and commerce. So that's for the first question. The second one is between FRM and ACCA. Krutika, you want to take it up? I see there is another question I think popping up for comparison between CFA and SCCA and comparison between FRM and SCCA as well.
Yes. So I think we have to understand that each of these certifications serves different purpose, right? ACCA is essentially, revolves around accounting and finance. FRM, as we know it is more on a risk side. It helps you to kind of do analysis of risk, and CFA again, it has different modules and it has different contents. So depending on your, I would say, career vision, which path you want to take, you will have to make a decision whether you want to choose one of these. And just to add on that, FRM and CFA, those are again, they require good amount of knowledge and education, knowledge and experience before you start that course, because definitely those are very niche type of courses where only certain amount of knowledge will help. So I would say that there is as such no comparison, because each one has to offer its own unique USP. So depending on what career you want to choose, you can make a call.
So it's not a 1-0 answer. So basically, it depends on the individual's choice of career. What is the job? What is the content which he or she would like to take up? That decides what kind of option.
Yeah,
And like
and
for ACCA, sorry, sir.
if someone wants to do all three, they are free to do all three, like
Yes,
how
yes.
Nidhish is doing all these courses,
Yes, yes.
So once
yes,
you
exactly.
do, suppose it's not that like once you do ACCA, you won't be, you can't pursue CFA. It again, how you want to take your career ahead, how you want to progress.
Absolutely.
So it ultimately all it comes on you, right? You start with ACCA, get some basic understanding of numbers and balance sheets and accounting functions. Then you can decide, depending on which company or which industry you are working on, you can make a decision as to whether you want to go for FRM or whether you want to go for CA. So all these courses are add-on courses, I would say. Like once, when you are starting your career, where you are in middle of your career, you automatically decide as to where you want to ultimately specialize. So that time you can make a decision to add on these courses.
Yes. Wonderful.
And I would like to add one thing. While we have talked about ACCA in detail, because that is something gripping the entire world like anything, and very, very popular, highest number of members and students globally. We at FinSapient want to be kind of providing a complete financial coaching. So we intend to launch CFA and FRM also in due course of time.
Wonderful.
So yeah, if we get the response, or if we see that sufficient the number of people are enrolling at the start, maybe we can prepone the launch, but that is also on the radar to launch in future, because we want to offer complete financial education and also serve the industry as well as the student community. And lastly, I would add that
all the more reason why the audience should participate in the quiz now.
Exactly.
And win those prizes. So if the audience members have not participated yet, please go ahead, participate 10 easy questions and win those prizes. And in fact, I would say I would attach more importance to the one-on-one mentorship talk which you would get from Nidhish or Krutika than to the prize money. I would say this is more valuable. You get a one-on-one personal interaction with Krutika and Nidhish. Yeah, sorry, Nidhish, you were saying something.
No, this is very useful. Of course, we can help how to navigate through the career, what kind of companies to target, and how to do the job search. Nowadays, LinkedIn and other social networking sites are a good tool to even get the employer's attention. How to build your profile and visibility are important things nowadays. So yes, all these tips and advices will come to you, whether you are a student or you also fill the quiz and win it. So I would also personally request to fill the quiz and try this one. Some good interesting questions on accounting and finance. And remember, I read it somewhere that only asset that does not depreciate, and you can test it in anything, right? Be it building, car, PPE, anything. The only asset that never depreciate is the investment in knowledge, right? So that's something that we all should always remember. And that's why you'll see people have been doing ACCA, CFA, FRM, doctorate, every single thing, because we are in the knowledge-based economy now.
Very true, very true, very true. So we've been getting some wonderful quotes from you and Krutika today. That's great. So Vinay, do we have any more questions, or should we? Hello, Vinay.
Yeah. So we have a few more questions. One is Akhil says, is there still scope for the person to invest in companies? Ashutosh says, what are the career for ACCA members in India? I think that's also been more or less covered. Satish wants to know, people moving from sectors other than financial sectors to take up ACCA. So there are quite a few questions.
That is a very valid question, Nidhish and Krutika. I would say this is a very valid question where people who have already embarked on a particular career path and are at crossroads and are looking at finance with a little more interest, but are not very sure whether what is the kind of course which certification they can seek, because the CA certification comes with its own 3-year internship and all that, whereas this is not there in ACCA. So would you like to give some inputs and insights on a person who is not in finance profession but is looking at finance profession with interest?
Yeah, there could be one or two good examples I can suggest. Like somebody, say someone working in the retail bank and has done a MBA in marketing, a successful salesperson, but want to understand the little bit of accounting and finance as well. To have a very good niche control on their industry. So while doing salesmanship or marketing, if the person understand accounting and finance and have a good grip on that, will be a more effective marketing person. Hence, for them, ACCA could be a good career path. Another example could be an excellent programmer or coder who have been developing the software and technologies for banking industry, but do not understand the debit and credit or various financial jargons and terminologies, or even the fundamentals of the accounting and finance. For someone like that, doing ACCA like courses will be very beneficial, because it will give you a complete end-to-end understanding of the not only accounting and finance, but also various business perspective and business models. So that could be a good synergy to switch from marketing or IT, not actually switch, but create a synergy in addition to sales and marketing plus IT, and add that with the accounting courses like ACCA.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think this has been a wonderful session. And sorry, Vinay, do we have any more questions?
As in when we get questions, we'll be happy to send it to the speakers and
yeah, we will send. So you can audiences can send the questions even after the webinar is over, right?
Absolutely.
Very good. Very good. So thank you, Nidhish, and thank you, Krutika, for being part of this webinar, where you have given wonderful insights as to how finance and accounting can be a challenging and very satisfying career option for aspiring students, as well as for people who are in crossroads, are looking at changes in their career path, and how FinSapient can be instrumental in achieving those goals in the career path of finance and accounting, especially in ACCA certification and the path ahead. Thanks for your valuable inputs. Thank you very much, Vinay, for providing the technical support to help us in making this webinar happen. Crowd Product has always